Tell him, McCluskey. Tell him what time it is.
Little Hen says it's time to rock and roll.
All you people are so scared of me.
Come quietly or there will be trouble.
Man, that's just me.
I'm Batman.
This is Sparta!
There is a tiger in the bathroom.
I'm an excellent driver.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Pop quiz, hotshot.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Stay here. I'll be back.
Hello and welcome to this week's Monday Movie Show. I'm yours, Stuart, and I'm also joined by Andy.
Hello and welcome.
I try to get through that intro as quickly as I possibly can because we have a one hell of a hectic show this week. We have 5 films to review. They are...
In the cinema section, 5 films including Zero Dark 30, the latest from Catherine Bigelow, Steven Spielberg's latest as well with Lincoln, Movie 43, which I'm not going to spend any more time on right now, Hollow, and Arnie is back in The Last Stand.
Yeah, and on top of that we have, well, a smidgen of movie news, because we haven't enough time to do a lot of movie news in the UK box office top 10,
and
as usual.
And for those moaning recent weeks about there not being any Star Wars news, it's Star Wars news.
Yeah, and as usual, if you want to get us on the live chat, if you listen to us live, there is Spreaker there. By all means, drop us a message. 2 quick announcements, because I asked if anybody wanted to shout out on Twitter, and Dango1867, a member of the Awesome Squad, it's his birthday on Friday.
Happy birthday!
Everybody make sure you note it down in your diaries that it's his birthday. He would like a big-ass TV and a Ferrari and stuff like that anyway. So, yeah, if you can...
I'm just going to say happy birthday now because I'm terrible with dates and I will forget.
Yeah, I doubt he actually listens to this, but you never know. He might listen to this. I might persuade him to listen to this. And on a serious note, I put up a website address on my Twitter feed yesterday. If you can go to justgiving.com / Elsie Violet, that's ELSIEVIOLET. If you can go to that and donate as much as you possibly can, because a friend of the Go Awesome Squad, somebody in his family passed away at the age of 18 months, and they're trying to raise as much money for the hospice where she spent most of her life in, because this hospice where she did spend most of her life, they tried to do as much for them, because kids only can live up to the age of 18, so it's specifically for kids up to the age of 18, and they try to do as much as they can for them, and so they're trying to raise as much money as possibly can. So if you can go to justgiving.com / Elsie Violet, and if you can donate something, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, I think you can post a tweet of that again later after the show so that everyone can get the right link if they're not sure about the spelling.
Yeah. Okay, then let's get on to the UK box office top 10.
Yeah, starting at number 10 with Parental Guidance.
Yeah, it's we keep saying each week, we're surprised that it's in the top 10 this week.
Yeah, I can't believe it's still there.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shock that it's in the top 10. It was a throwaway movie that was out on Boxing Day. It's got Billy Crystal and Bette Midler in it. It's the typical kids movie. Also
released on Boxing Day at number 9 is Jack Reacher,
which I've not yet seen.
I really enjoyed it. I know that there's been sort of a bit of a mixed reaction to it. Some people have thought it's a bit bland, but I like how gritty and seriously filmed it is. There seems to be a lack of special effects in it, and a lot of it seems to have been done that it's been wherever possible filmed in real for actual stunt work and such, instead of having CGI effects, and that I really liked about it, as well as having a decent plot thriller. At number 8 is Quartet.
Yeah, a film that seems to resonate more with the crowd who goes to see movies like the Best Exotic Marigold Hotel. It centres around a retirement home for opera singers, etc., and they want to put on one last show. It's directed by Dustin Hoffman. It's an interesting film for him to have as his directorial debut. It's done pretty decent at the UK box office, nearly £6 million.
Making a surprising entry with the 3D version of its cinema release, Monsters Inc. at number 7.
The only reason why it's been re-released in 3D is because Monsters University is out later on this year, and they're just trying to jog people's memories of the film itself. Don't bother spending the amount of money you have to spend on to go and see a 3D movie. Just go out and buy the DVD. You'll enjoy it much better at home.
I think even anyone who's after the 3D version, it's not that long till it comes out on the Blu-ray for the home 3D version. So if you've got home 3D, like I have, then it's probably better waiting for that. And number 6, still hanging around, is The Hobbit.
Yeah, it's a good film, slightly disappointing in my opinion, a bit too long, and it goes on a little bit, and there's too many interleaving stories, and it loses track on itself a little bit, and the CGI is very, very ropey at times, but it's still an entertaining, round about 2.5, nearly 2 hours 45-minute film. It's very long, but it's the typical. I forgot his name. I can't believe I forgot his name. Yeah,
Peter Jackson. It wasn't me for the first time tonight. Yeah.
It's the typical Peter Jackson film. I can't believe I forgot Peter Jackson's name.
I don't think you've seen this next one. Number 5 is Gangster Squad.
Nope.
No. Which unfortunately is a real waste of the talent involved and the cast. I'm not going to name names because I will probably forget them anyway. But it's just unfortunately not anywhere near as good as it should be. It feels like a TV movie. It gets better as it goes on, but some of the performances in it are really not worth paying for at the cinema. They're wait for DVD and watch it then. Number 4 is The Impossible,
which I thought it's a gut-wrenching film from practically beginning to end. There is a lot in this movie which is very harrowing. It's brilliantly acted, it's brilliantly directed as well, and it, for the budget that it is on this film, it's visually stunning, even though a lot of the visuals are really harrowing. But it's a really important film, and I don't think it's suitable for 12A. For the 12A certificate, it's a 15, in my opinion.
Yeah, I completely agree on that. Number 3 is Life of Pi.
Yeah, it's Ang Lee's visually stunning film. He has a knack of doing movies that have a broad scope to them, considering that it is only specifically about one boy on one person and a tiger on a boat. But it's gorgeous to look at. Andy doesn't think that the soundtrack is as good as I think it is, and it deserves the recognition that it's getting.
I haven't been able to track it down to have a listen to it again. I need to try and find it at some point to do that. Number 2, highest new entry this week for Django Unchained.
Yeah, it's a very typical Quentin Tarantino movie. He has a sort of like a genre of his own. He's done what he's done with what the Western is with Django Unchained, as he did the same with the World War films with Inglourious. It's a fun film. There is a lot to really like about the movie. There is obviously the couple of things where the fact that it's too long and Quentin Tarantino can't act to save his life. He pops up near the end of the film and it's a terrible cameo.
Yeah. Number 1, the top film in the UK box office, Les Miserables.
There's no doubt that it held on to the top spot. As a matter of fact, every single movie in the UK box office top 10 this week, apart from the new entries, saw a steep drop-off. Les Miserables had dropped off around about 60% of its previous week's taken, so a lot of the films received a steep drop-off, but it still didn't lodge Les Miserables from the top spot. It's a visually gorgeous film. It's absolutely gorgeous to look at. It's shot really nicely. It's really well acted, and it's a proper musical rather than a sort of like a standard film with musical numbers wrapped around it.
Yeah, it should be. Everyone should go and see this, even if they don't like musicals, because like me, I'm not a fan of musicals, but I really did enjoy this. So it's one of those ones that is a must-see.
Yeah, and according to Mr. Moobs in the live chat, this show needs more starch-based products. I really do not know how to answer that or say anything
Go
like
and
that.
eat some potatoes, Moobs.
He's obsessed with potatoes. Right, on to the one and only piece of movie news that we've got.
Yeah, last Friday, one of the biggest pieces of movie news were broken by Disney when it was confirmed that J.J. Abrams will direct the new Star Wars movie, Episode 7, which is yet to be titled. It'll be written by Academy Award winner Michael Arndt, who's been writing for Disney before on Toy Story 3 and Brave, and he'll be writing the screenplay. Though George Lucas has no control over the making of the new Star Wars movies, he's commented that he's been consistently impressed with J.J. Abrams as a filmmaker and storyteller, and that he's an ideal choice to direct the new Star Wars film, and the legacy couldn't be in better hands.
Isn't that lovely?
Yeah.
As a lot of people said on Twitter and Facebook and everywhere where there's a social site, that they've given it to J.J. Abrams, yet there'll be a hell of a lot of lens flare. About 2.5 hours of the film will be lens flare, and you'll probably will need to wear 3D glasses just so you don't get burnt retinas.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone saw it, but I posted a picture that I found online. Someone, I can't remember who it was, but I should need to give original credit to, because it's a genius piece of work. It's a picture from Star Wars, and it's from the original, the first Star Wars, A New Hope, and it's got loads of lens flare done on it, and it just looks brilliant. It's a great kick in the teeth to that idea.
Yeah, what I found interesting though is I read today that it might even miss its 2015 release date.
I wouldn't be surprised, because J.J. Abrams is busy, and I mean he's now as well going to be doing a new Star Trek film as well. He's already signed up apparently for a Star Trek 3.
Yeah, so over the next 10 years, poor J.J. Abrams, all he'll be doing is Star Trek and Star Wars, and it's the first director who's tackled both a Star Trek and a Star Wars film. So
I have issues with it, but we don't have time for me to go over them here.
No, because we have to go to a break, and the whole reason why we're rushing is because we've got 5 films to review, so we'll be back after this.
Right, advert. What do I need to say in an advert? Well, I need to say that we're the Gamescast. I need to say that we're on Twitter at the Gamescast. I need to say we're on Facebook. I need to say we've got a website, thegamescast.com, and I need to say we're on YouTube. Oh yeah, and we're on this thing called Spreaker.com. Don't know where that came from. What else? That's probably it. Right, better record it. Oh, crap. That was 30 seconds. The Gamescast. Grown-up gamers talking about games. Allegedly.
Right, welcome back. As I said, we have 5 films to review, so we better get into them.
Yep, Zero Dark 30, which is the latest from Catherine Bigelow, who I'm a big fan of. She's very well known now for directing The Hurt Locker, which won, I think it was 5 awards at the Oscars last year, or year before, sorry.
Couple of years ago,
yeah. But deservedly so. The movie is sort of partly based on real events, with a main character played by Jessica Chastain, who plays Maya, who is at the start of the movie, a young CIA operative who is just after the September 11th attacks in 2001. She is then sent over to it's listed as a black site, an unknown location, where people are being interrogated for information as to the whereabouts of Osama bin Laden. The film then follows her story as she travels through different locations, and obviously for the 10 years that it takes to the events that did happen in 2011 when Osama bin Laden was killed and captured. I mean, that's not a spoiler because it's based on those historical events, which I'm sure everyone is aware of now. The whole thing is all sort of these sequences as she's dealing with people that she works with, people that she's encountering along the job of tracking him, and she becomes sort of obsessed with this, with finding him, with the information that she has. There's a moment where she gets to meet all of the soldiers who are going to actually be making the strike on the compound where Osama bin Laden is suspected to be holed up. Here's that clip.
You'll notice the stealth panels, similar to what we use on the B-2. The rotors have been muffled with decibel killers. It's slower than a Black Hawk, lacks the offense and the stability, but it can hide.
So, hey, excuse me, but what do we need this for in Libya? I mean, Gaddafi's anti-air is virtually non-existent.
Maya, you want to brief him?
There are 2 narratives about the location of Osama bin Laden. The one that you're most familiar with is that UBL is hiding in a cave in the tribal areas, that he's surrounded by a large contingent of loyal fighters. But that narrative is pre-9/11 understanding of UBL. The second narrative is that he's living in a city. Living in a city with multiple points of egress and entry, access to communications, so that he can keep in touch with the organization. You can't run a global network of interconnected cells from a cave.
So, what is there about the film then to discuss, other than there's not really more plot to it, because it doesn't have a massive plot, because it is all about this thing of obsessing and going after who you're trying to find, in this case Osama bin Laden. The thing about the film is it is full of absolutely fantastic performances. It is solidly directed. It is a really great, gritty, solid piece of work by Catherine Bigelow. As I said, one of my favourite directors. The thing of it is, you got Jessica Chastain is the pin that holds everything together. She is the central character of it. She is the one that is leading the charge as the film goes on, when other people have sort of lost interest in finding him. They don't think he's still around anymore. They think he's hiding in a cave somewhere and not interested. They want to get something big and stop the next threat that is around the corner, that's another attack that's expected. She wants to get him. She wants to get the person who is supposedly still involved in planning all of these attacks that are going on. As we see in the movie, because it is based on real events, there are moments when the time is popped up on the screen, the date and time of something, and if you know the history of the last 10 years, you will know when a date and time pops up, there is something about to happen, which isn't a problem with it because it kind of sets you up for it. I mean, talking, for example, the London bus bombing of July 7th, I can't remember the year now, I'm terrible for dates, but I know that when it came up with that, I was like, and I saw it was set in London, I knew that was coming, and it's kind of like a thing that it sets you ready for it. So there's no kind of shocking moments in it like that you're sort of unprepared for, which is good. I find that to be a really good thing because it also gives you an idea of the time that has passed since events in the film. It really does give it a sense of this being a 10-year-long journey. There's the issue of torture in the film. I mean, we're not going to get into this now, but the torture in the film is shown, especially in the first sort of 45 minutes, to a degree that's quite extreme and excessive, but not gratuitous. It's shown to show that it happens. It's kind of like the whole thing of Saving Private Ryan, showing what war is really like and not doing it to be gratuitous. It's showing it to show it factually, this is the kind of thing that happened. And it's done with an air of respect to the truth of what did happen and things like that. So it really is one of the best films that I've seen recently, and it's a 2.5 hour long film. It is a long film, but it's a extremely engrossing and enjoyable film, and it kind of shifts gears as it goes along, especially with the last half hour. But it's definitely one to check out.
Yeah, when it comes to the torture of the film, if it was that gratuitous, etc., then the film itself would have been given an 18 rated certificate.
Yeah.
In the long run, it is a 15, and the scenes of torture are quite strong. Might be quite strong to some people because it is based on real events. It is a true account of what happened.
But it's not like a Saw movie. It's not done to be. It's not done to be a visual style. It's not done to be artwork. It is done.
Because it happened.
Exactly.
That's how it happened. Catherine Bigelow is one of those directors who, she's a really rare director because she directs in a male universe. The films that she directs, you would expect a male to direct the movie, and she's not afraid to tackle those kind of issues. It's because a lot of females, they seem to get stereotyped with directing romantic comedies or dramas. Yeah. And every now and again you'll get a director to do something like this, and Catherine Bigelow has broken the mould, and she's a brilliant director. There was a question there by US Danny Dyer fan, says, is this film better than The Hurt Locker? It's not fair.
I think it is, but it's a different film, but I enjoyed it more than The Hurt Locker.
Yeah, personally, I don't think it's fair comparing them both. Because even though they've both got a very similar tone, I find them both brilliant in their own rights. The Hurt Locker is a fantastic film itself, and Zero Dark 30 is a brilliant account of the capture and killing of Osama bin Laden. It's ironic, though, that Zero Dark 30 was originally going to be about the failed attempt at capturing Osama bin Laden. So she had to go back and practically rewrite the whole film.
It's an interesting thing of sort of the. I mean, it's kind of weird to say the word art, but it's the thing of art imitating life. And then life changing, which means that everything gets thrown in a spoke, it stops it completely running.
And it's just a miracle that a director has actually managed to do that. And it's no wonder that Catherine Bigelow has turned around and says that she's not directing anything in the near future. She wants to have a break. And I don't blame her.
Yeah, I heard it was quite a quickly shot film as well, which for what it is astounding because it's extremely competently executed. For a film, it doesn't look boring at any point either. It's visually interesting as well as having a really good narrative and good dialogue as well.
Yep, right, let's get on to the next film. And as me and Andy was discussing during the clip that we played for Zero Dark 30, it's really rare that you get two huge, massive Oscar contention films out in the same week. This is just a stupid idea of releasing both of these films at the same week. So the second film under Oscar contention is Lincoln. It's up for 12 Oscars, which is huge. It's directed by Steven Spielberg, and it stars Daniel Day-Lewis as scarily as Abraham Lincoln. even though there's no footage of how Abraham Lincoln looked and talked. You've got pictures from it, but he's scarily eerie, like Abraham Lincoln. And the premise of the film, it's got a very simple premise, a bit like Zero Dark 30, and it just centres around Lincoln wanting to pass the 13th Amendment, which is to abolish slavery. It's sort of like the same kind of thing that Django Unchained. Django Unchained was more of you practically see a Mickey take out of it. This one is the serious take on slavery. It is about Lincoln wanting to pass in the House of Representatives that he wants to get this amendment passed so it can end slavery because it's set during the American Civil War. And the slaves are rising up against America. The South is fighting against the North. And he wants all that to end before... He's just gone into his second term, but before he's fully gotten sworn into it. So if you live in the US and you listen to this, you know exactly about the 13th Amendment because you probably taught it in history. And us in the UK were a bit more wary about it. And so the whole film is just about him trying to persuade as many people to sign this declaration so it can help him out. There is one character in the film played by Tommy Lee Jones who plays Theodis Stevens, who's sort of like... when you first meet him, he's sort of like opposed to what Lincoln wants to do. The more he goes on through the film, the more you see his character change. Here's a clip.
How can I hold that all men are created equal when here before me stands stinking the moral carcass of the gentleman from Ohio, proof that some men are inferior, endowed by their maker with dim wits, impermeable to reason, with cold, pallid slime in their veins instead of hot red blood. You are more reptile than man, George, so low and flat that the foot of man is incapable of crushing you. How dare you!
So as you heard in that clip there, you could tell that his character was going up against Abraham Lincoln. Why was I saying George Washington? It says that it was going up against Lincoln and the fact he was going up against what he wanted to do because they believed that if the war managed to sort itself out, then they wouldn't have to pass this 13th Amendment and then slaves wouldn't have to be set free. They wouldn't start to get rights of their own. And however, that wasn't the case and that's not how Lincoln saw it. The film itself has also got Sally Field in it, who plays Lincoln's wife. David Strathairn, who plays William Stewart, again a character who sort of goes up against Lincoln at times. Joseph Gordon-Levitt in the movie as well, who plays Abraham Lincoln's oldest son. And every single actor in this film is absolutely brilliant. Especially Daniel Day-Lewis, he's got the nod for Best Actor, and I think he deserves it. He is just insanely fantastic in this movie. Tommy Lee Jones, if you want an actor who's near to Daniel Day-Lewis, it's Tommy Lee Jones. This is some of the best acting he has ever done in a film. Full stop. Tommy Lee Jones is absolutely brilliant in the movie. The whole movie, it's very long. It's on for about 2.5 hours. And it's more about the political side of it rather than showing the Civil War itself. You get little snippets of the Civil War, specifically in the opening scene of the film where you see somebody's face getting stomped on. But the rest of the film is more about the political side of it and more about the bill being passed. So it might seem a bit boring to people, but it's really interesting, extremely engrossing, and it's full of a lot of speeches that I'm guessing American school children would know these speeches anyway because they'll have to do it. And I wouldn't be surprised if this is on their syllabus in 5 years' time. They're forced to watch Lincoln, and it is that kind of movie where you know it's going to do really well at the Oscars because it's an American film about an American president, about something that was important to American history. And it's talking to the Oscar judges. But it's a really good film. I don't know how well it'll do over here. It'll not do as well over here as it did in America, but it's definitely worth a watch.
I want to see it because it's one of the films that I didn't get a chance to see. I just didn't have time at the weekend, and I wanted to see it. So at some point I am going to make the effort to see this because it does look like being a very good film. One of the things I've heard about it is that it's being a 12 rated film. Is it 12? Isn't?
Yeah, 12. Yeah.
That are people that are sort of the 12 age interested in this? Are they following it? Because I've heard that it's quite sort of lengthy, sort of court sort of sequences.
Yeah. It would just depend on what the children themselves are doing on their syllabus at that time, what they're studying. in history, because they might actually be studying the American Civil War. And if there are, this will really help them, because it is one of the best. It's more of an interesting take on it, rather than getting the teacher to read out things from textbooks or watching the kind of History Channel take on American Civil War. This is a much better representation of it.
Okay. All right, I'm going to go on to movie 43. Okay.
Block your ears.
Yeah. It's a, comedy, which has got more names than I really do want to give out. But I mean, I've got, directed by, the reason I'll explain to this in the reason, but Elizabeth Banks, Steve Brill, Steve Carr, Rusty Cundiff, James Duffy, Griffin June, Peter Farrelly, Patrick Forsberg, James Gunn, Bob Odenkirk, Brett Ratner, and Jonathan Van Tulleken. And now, the issue with this is that there's a movie that's directed by all these people because of the fact that it is essentially a whole load of small segment one-off films, which are then interconnected by a main story, if you will, of two friends who are trying to get back one of their brothers. Because he sort of pranked them, and they decide they're going to prank him back by telling him there's this movie that exists online which is banned. It's so deadly it kind of has an effect like The Ring, that it can kill you if you don't watch it all the way through. And they interest him by telling him this movie is called Movie 43. So he then gets on the net with them, starts searching through the internet for all these deleted and illegal and hidden videos that are online, and each one of them turns out to be a segment, which has been these segments that have been directed by one of those people I just named. Here's a clip from one of those segments.
There's 10,000 white people out there that think that we ain't good enough. You know what? Maybe we ain't.
All of y'all feel like that? 400 years in this country, the black man has been spit on, kicked, drugged through the mud. But I've got two things I can tell you. Number one, win or lose, I am so proud of y'all. Number two, you're gonna win.
But them white boys from Hickory Tech.
What game are we playing?
Basketball, coach.
What color is this game?
White.
Exactly. They're white, you're black. This is basketball. Am I speaking Chinese? I mean, come on, people. You guys are 25-0.
Yeah, coach, but that was against all black teams.
That's the point. Y'all gonna kill those Caucasians.
Okay, that's the one of the clips that has Terrence Howard, as you heard there in the clip, where he's trying to egg on his he's the coach of a basketball team in the 1960s or 1950s, and he's trying to give them their speech. That's amongst one of the more tame, even though it had to still have a bleep in it for language. This film is full, it's rife with really strong and unpleasant language throughout, and it's the thing of that there's all these segments. There's one with Hugh Jackman and Kate Winslet where, and the only way I can really describe this without being really graphic is anyone who's seen Men in Black 2, if you remember what a Bolchinian is, that is what you have in this segment, with Hugh Jackman being that character, and being out on a blind date with Kate Winslet out in public with a situation which it's ludicrous and it's horrible, and it's just, there's moments in it where it's just cringe-inducing, and that's just one of the skits. That is not all of them. That goes for all of them. But and I mean, there's one where another blind date one where you have Stephen Moyer is set up with a blind date with Halle Berry's character, which is actually one of the ones. It did get a giggle from me. Stephen Moyer actually got a giggle from me in this film. That was the only time I let out any kind of outburst, which was not in risking vomit and. It was just awful. It's ridiculously it's extremely misogynistic. It's where I have a big problem with it. There is a storyline involving a character played by Chloe Moretz when she's over at a friend's, and it's kind of like a preteen sort of make out. Just her and a boy are just making out on the couch, just kissing. and then it turns out that she's having her period for the first time, and everyone freaking out about it. Even the dad comes home and freaks out about it, and it's just, I found it really unpleasantly just awful. And I mean, the thing is that especially at moments like that in the film, there were groups in the audience who'd came in groups of female audiences who came in with just like friends or something like that. So it was all female groups that came in. Not all of them. There were couples in there as well. But it was at scenes like this, and that a lot of the female audiences started to walk out. And I was kind of like, I completely agree, except I've got to stay here and watch the rest of this 90 minutes because of the fact that I need to review it, and I can't review it if I haven't watched the whole thing. You know what? Those people who walked out did the right thing. They were smarter than me, because of the fact that they didn't stand there and endure this tripe, which is just horrible. There's another extremely misogynistic and sexist one involving, if you've seen the trailer for it, you've seen the thing of it, the Eye Babe, which is a human-sized iPod player thing. It's a spoof and a whole thing on the iPod, but it's basically it's a naked woman that plays the iPod. People dance around her and stuff, and this whole thing of the boys have been inserting things into where there's a fan, which has then been mangling things, said inserted things. And there's the joke of it in there is that Richard Gere plays the head of this board of committee people, and they're explaining it to him. They're trying to explain it to him, and there's a woman there who's played by, I forget what her name is. Who was it that was in the Superman Returns? Played Lois in Superman Returns.
I can't remember.
I can't know what her name is, but she's in it. She's like the only female member on the entire board, and she's going on about, I saw this coming. Did no one else see this coming? And all these guys are sitting around there going, no, we didn't see this coming. We didn't see this happening. And Richard Gere's sitting at the top of the table. Everyone's saying stuff to him about, no, this, and I don't get it. She says stuff to him. He's like, no, I still don't get it. And then that guy basically explains the whole thing in like 3 points of this will happen, this will happen, this will happen. He goes, that's it. Now, why didn't any of you say that? I mean, it's just excruciatingly bad. It's awful. It's horrid. It's rated 15 because there's nudity and there is extreme language in it, especially involving the scene with God knows why Gerard Butler as a leprechaun. I honest to God do not know why, but it's you've heard me almost swear people in this. I mean, I'm resisting dropping a couple of F-bombs because that's what this film is putting me to. It's not even a film. It's a monstrosity. Apparently there is a version that's released here that's different from the version released in America, where the story that ties all the things together is a completely different story and films and features a different load of actors. Why that was changed here, I don't know, but it's just horrendous. Do not see this. I'm kidding. I'm not kidding. I'm telling you, this is worse than Keith Lemon the film. Rant over.
I just thought we needed a tiny little bit of silence there. Just a tiny little bit of silence.
I can go on easily. I'm planning on doing a big write-up on this because I do have so many issues with this film and films like this getting made and getting put in the cinema, and then because I'm reviewing Last Stand in a little while tonight as well, and this had more
we
people
might not
sitting
get onto it though.
This had more people sit. I just want to say this has had more people sitting in it than Last Stand, which is disgusting.
Yeah, okay then, fine. Stop. Just calm down. Because we do still have 2 films to review, and we have 11 minutes left. So
I'm actually really hot now after that. That's really.
I doubt we'll get through them, but we'll see. I'm not going to spend very much time on a film called Hollow. It's a small little British film. It's directed by Michael Alex Gordon. It has no actors in it that anybody's heard of. It centres around 4 people who. It's a shaky cam film. So if you've seen any shaky cam film, you know what to expect. It centres around 4 people who decide to go and investigate this myth of this mythical tree that has these sort of like powers that people have been dying of them in this small town in Cornwall somewhere. And that's the whole premise of the film. And it's just them taking these cameras along to see these sort of like pagan rituals that happen at this tree or in this small town. And them, like I said, just documenting it. And it's the typical sort of like shaky cam movie. If you've got a checklist of any shaky cam films that you've seen in the past, or Blair Witch Project, even looking at things like The Devil Inside and Paranormal Activity, etc., everything that this film does is exactly on that checklist. So you've got things like a shaky cam. You've got things like people saying "I'm sorry" into the camera. The guy with the camera being told to put down the camera as many times as he possibly can. People saying they're really sorry. Lots of screams. A weird creature might pop up on the screen. Creepy town. And maybe there's a bit of scare here and there. A weird noise. Just the usual stereotypical kind of crap that you would expect in these kind of movies. This is just below any of those movies. It's a pointless, completely pointless film. I don't know why the hell it managed to get a cinema release. So a lot of films who go direct to DVD, you expect to go to the cinema because the kind of look of the film. And this one has got a cinema release, and I don't know who will actually sit down and watch the film. It's just pointless, absolutely pointless, and it doesn't need any more time. So the final film?
I'm appreciative of you getting to that quick because I know I took a while on movie 43. The Last Stand, which is Arnold Schwarzenegger return to action movies. We don't have a clip, which fortunately is good because I don't have a lot of time left. It stars Arnold Schwarzenegger as the little sheriff of a small, quiet town that's on the south of Texas, on the border with Mexico. The whole thing is sort of started off with this in Las Vegas. There is a criminal who's being transferred by the FBI, amongst them Forrest Whitaker playing sort of the lead FBI guy in charge of this. And the prisoner escapes and is then shown to be on the road in an extremely fast car to get him south to the border, where this little town is that Arnold Schwarzenegger is the sheriff of. Things all in the town sort of seem normal. The town is having everyone, most of the people in the town are leaving for the weekend because there's a football game that's being done 3 hours away somewhere, so people are leaving to go to this. It's a big thing or something. So leaving a sort of a skeleton group of people in the town to just run things and be around when these group of sort of mercenaries and such are there to actually build a bridge over a chasm that will then take the bad guy across to Mexico and to freedom. Not in my town. There's this sort of thing that you usually get. It's the typical kind of thing like that. Arnold Schwarzenegger is making the last stand because they are the last town and the only way that this guy has then got to go through to get to his freedom in Mexico. It's the typical kind of Arnold Schwarzenegger 80s style sort of action film, if you will. It's not a bad film. It's not a brilliant film. It is just that typical kind of 80s. If you've seen Arnold Schwarzenegger films before, you know what you're going to get with this, and that's one of the things that I like about it. There's no sort of false pretenses of what you're going to get. It's a little bit more of the character added to it because there are moments where there's issues involving one of his deputies, and the whole thing of him then saying, you're scared. Trust me, if I'm more scared than you because I've seen this before, I know what's coming. So it's that little bit more of an emotional thing to it than you get with previous Arnold Schwarzenegger films, which I don't have a problem with. I thought was fine. The action I thought was fine. There's you got characters in there like Peter Stormare is great in The Villain, who even cracks a few jokes a few times in the way he looks at certain things when he sees like his bad guys get shot. He kind of looks up to the heavens in a why me sort of look. You have Johnny Knoxville, who is not as annoying as he potentially could be in the film. He plays a bit of a oddball, massive gun collector nearby who is then recruited into the deputies because of the fact that they need all his weapons and his guns. And you've got Louis Guzman in there as well, who is even quite funny in some of it. I mean, who doesn't like Louis Guzman in the film? He's brilliant. I love the guy. So there's a lot in there to enjoy. It's not overly long, doesn't outstay its welcome. It's an hour and 47 minutes. It is rated 15 because there's obviously violence in it, so it's not sort of watered down for a 12 audience. And if you like the classic Arnold Schwarzenegger action films, and you like a decent action film, which to be honest for me felt like a little bit kind of like a western, which I quite enjoyed about it, then I would say go and see this because you'll probably enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm not as positive as you are with the film itself. We do actually we have a little bit of time. We have 6 minutes left, so yeah. Personally, I'm going to
go about movie 43 again.
No, I'll say what I see. I'm going to say about The Last Stand. I didn't enjoy the film as much as you did. I just found it to be boring a lot of the times, to be honest. Johnny Knoxville, I don't know why the hell he's on the poster. He pops up in the film about about 5 minutes into the film, 10 minutes into the film, where he's shooting into a cow with two of the deputies. Because they think that everybody's gone away for this football game, and the deputies think that there's nothing else to do in the town. It's going to be really quiet. Yeah. So
Sheriff's supposed to have to pay off or something as well. Isn't it?
And Johnny Knoxville's character, they're shooting into sort of like a big, huge, massive slab of meat, and that's the first time you see his character. Then he's completely forgotten about. For a good 45 minutes, 50 minutes, he's forgotten about until the problem occurs when those guys are coming into the town and the sheriff really does need other people, and they decide to go to him because he does have lots of guns, specifically this huge, massive gun, and everything has a name with him. He's named everything.
That got one of the funniest lines, though, something that Arnold Schwarzenegger says to him, which I won't repeat because of the fact it's robbing the line, but then I couldn't repeat because it involves swearing, but that actually got one of the biggest laughs in the film when I saw it. And I mean, the people in the audience, I mean, it might just be because I did see this immediately after movie 43, but I really enjoyed it. It seems that the people that were in the cinema with me did enjoy it as well. If people were laughing at certain points, there's some moments in it which are, I mean, you've got to admit it as well. There is a brilliant death involving a flare gun. There's just, I've not seen that really in something before. And I was like, I wanted to applaud that because I thought it was just, I was like, I like that, yeah.
No, that's no. I didn't want to applaud that. I just was watching it and thinking, okay, the director is sitting there with the checklist thing and just ticking each one off as it goes along in the film itself. A lot of people in the live chat are
it's not bad. I mean, US Danny Dye fans saying that she's not a fan of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Well, a lot of people in the live chat are saying that they're not much of a fan of Arnold Schwarzenegger's films, and this one is just he doesn't have to be overly physical. There is a fight scene where he's a little bit physical, and he doesn't have to be overly physical in the film. There is also a scene where he crashes into the cafe where the people are really reluctant to getting out there, and then make an age joke. Yeah, and it's just. I felt like the jokes were just very flat. I didn't laugh at any of the sarcastic quips in the film itself, and I just felt the film was a bit very paint by numbers.
No, I think, especially considering a lot of older Arnie films are kind of brain dead in a way. They're just action and that's it. I mean, this isn't as brain dead as that. This actually does have a very basic, very thin plot, but it does have one, and I had no problem with that. I went into this expecting what I got, which is...
And Menace, shut up. Yes, it's in my opinion. That's the bloody reason why I do a movie show. So obviously it's in my opinion if I'm reviewing the fecking thing, you idiot.
Oh, close to the line there.
That's why I said feck. I think we were allowed to say feck or frack. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm allowed one, seeing that you nearly slipped up earlier on.
You just had about 3 or 4 there, so...
Yeah, screw it. Why not? Right, that's it for the cinema part of the show. Yep, we still have another section of the show to do, so we will be back in a moment live on Spreaker with the Blu-ray and DVD part of the show, so we'll see you then.